Hey everyone, welcome. So, how do you actually take the pulse of a nation? I mean, it's a massive question, right? And the answer, well, it really depends on what you decide to measure. Today, we're going to look at three totally different snapshots of India's progress. We're talking everything from economic ambition to global mobility and even natural treasures. So let's dive in and see what these different yardsticks really tell us.
All right, so let's get right to it. This is the big question that's going to frame everything we talk about today. How do you truly measure a country's progress? Is it all about the money, the size of its economy, or maybe it's about global influence, how powerful its passport is? Or, and this is interesting, could it be something else entirely? Something as delicate as the health of its ecosystem? As we're about to see, all three of these tell one piece of a much, much bigger story.
Okay, first up, let's talk money. Or more specifically, India's incredibly ambitious economic goals. We're going to look at the country's huge push to become a real powerhouse in global trade, and we'll dig into the system they've designed to track and drive that ambition, especially when it comes to exports. All the stuff the country sells to the rest of the world.
So if you're going to have a goal that big, you obviously need a solid game plan. And that's where the Export Preparedness Index, or EPI, comes in. This was developed by Niti Aayog, and let me tell you, it's not just some boring report card. Nope, it's a full-on strategic tool. It systematically breaks down how ready each state and union territory is to actually help hit that national export target. You can almost think of it like a diagnostic test for the whole country's economic engine.
And what's the big target this whole thing is aiming for? Get this, $1 trillion. That's the goal for India's merchandise exports by 2030. I mean, that is a jaw-droppingly ambitious number. It means every single part of the country has to be firing on all cylinders, no question about it.
Okay, so what I find really cool is how the EPI actually breaks this whole challenge down. It's built on four main pillars. The biggest one, carrying a whopping 40% of the weight, is the business ecosystem. And that makes total sense, right? A supportive, smooth-running environment for all kinds of businesses, from tiny startups to giant corporations, is the absolute bedrock for long-term export growth. After that, you've got export infrastructure, policy, and governance, and of course, export performance, the actual numbers. It's a really smart, balanced way to look at the whole picture.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. We've talked about the internal economic engine. Now let's look at an external measure of a country's standing, how easily its citizens can travel the globe. This one's all about global influence, diplomacy, and the level of trust a country has on the world stage. So, to get a feel for this, let's check out the global leaderboard. The Henley Passport Index basically ranks countries on one simple thing. How many other places can you go without needing to get a visa beforehand? And right at the very top of the list, Singapore. Their passport gets you into an unbelievable 192 countries visa-free. And this isn't just about making vacation planning easier, It's a huge indicator of a country's diplomatic clout and how well regarded it is around the world. And this is where we see some really cool progress for India. In just 1 year, the country climbed 5 spots in the rankings. It went from 85th all the way up to 80th. That's a real, tangible jump. And it tells you a lot about strengthening international relationships and a better standing on the global stage.
So, what does that 80th rank actually mean for an Indian passport holder? Well, it means you can travel to 55 different countries without needing a visa first. And think about it. Every single one of those destinations is a diplomatic bridge that's been built. It just makes global travel for business, for school, for culture, or just for fun so much easier.
Okay, for our final snapshot, we are taking a hard left turn. We're going to move completely away from economic targets and global rankings. Instead, we're going to measure progress by looking at what a nation chooses to protect. We're talking about something you can't put a price tag on: natural, irreplaceable wealth. And this quote really says it all. Down in Kerala, they made a decision. They weren't just going to protect a forest, they were going to create the state's first ever sanctuary dedicated specifically to butterflies. I mean, that's a huge statement about what you value, right? It's recognizing that the health of these tiny insects is a massive signal for the health of the whole ecosystem. They're critical pollinators and they're super sensitive indicators of what's happening in the environment. Now, the sanctuary itself has actually been around for a while. It was first set up way back in 1984 as the Arlam Wildlife Sanctuary. But the official renaming in 2025, that's what's so important here. It marks this huge evolution. It's a formal recognition of just how special this area is for its incredible variety of butterflies, and it shows a real commitment to protecting them.
So, just to give you a few quick facts, this amazing place is in the Kannur district of Kerala.
The Chinkani River flows right through it, which is what keeps everything so lush. And the biodiversity, it's just mind-blowing. It's home to over 266 different species of butterflies. That's a huge chunk of all the butterfly species found in the entire state. This place isn't just a park. It's like a living, breathing library of biodiversity.
Okay, so we've just looked at three completely different things, right? A $1 trillion export goal, a passport getting more powerful, and a sanctuary for butterflies. You're probably sitting there thinking, what in the world connects all of these?
Well, here's the connection. Each one is a different kind of dashboard for progress. They're all totally valid, super important ways of measuring what a nation actually values. When you put them all together, you get this much more complete picture. You see the drive for economic power, the push for a respected place in the world, and the wisdom to protect its natural treasures for generations to come.
And that really leaves us with one final big question. As India charts its course towards its Viksit Bharat at 2047 vision, that goal of becoming a fully developed nation, what's going to matter most? Which of these yardsticks, and others like them, will be the true definition of success? Is it going to be a perfect balance of all three, or will one ultimately end up mattering more than the rest? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this one.